you open your laptop, you know exactly what you need to do. You've known for 3 weeks, and you sit there, completely still, watching the cursor blink for 40 minutes. You're not tired. You're not stupid. You genuinely want to do it. But something in you just won't. And the worst part isn't the time you're wasting. It's what you tell yourself about it. I'm so lazy. What is wrong with me? I need you to hear this right now, before anything else. Nothing is wrong with you. But something is happening inside your brain, and once you understand it, you will never look at yourself the same way again. There are two systems in your brain fighting for control right now. The first is your amygdala, ancient, paranoid, insanely fast. Its only job, the one job it has performed for 100,000 years, is to detect threats and pull you away from danger. The problem? It cannot tell the difference between a lion and a deadline. To your amygdala, an overdue project and a physical attack feel identical. The second system is your prefrontal cortex, rational, logical, slow. It knows the task matters. It knows you'll feel better after. It's genuinely trying to get you moving. But here's the problem. The amygdala is always faster. The moment you think about that task, the one with real stakes, the one people will see, your amygdala fires first. Your chest tightens, your stomach turns, your body starts searching for any exit. And your brain calls that exit, just checking my phone for a second. Here is the sentence that stopped thousands of people mid-scroll and made them sit in silence. People don't procrastinate because they don't care. They procrastinate because they care so much that failure feels genuinely dangerous. That's not a motivational quote. That's neuroscience. And that's why calling yourself lazy has never once worked. Because lazy people feel nothing. You feel everything. Your brain just learned to run from it. Now let me show you exactly which version of fear is running your life. You have something you've been meaning to make. A video, a business, a piece of writing, fully formed in your head, perfect and completely unstarted. Every time you try to begin, there's a voice. What if it's not good enough? Here's what nobody tells you about perfectionism. It has nothing to do with standards. It's a fear costume. The perfectionist doesn't delay because they want excellence. They delay because finishing means being seen. And being seen means being judged. And being judged means someone might confirm the thing they're most terrified of, that what they made and what they are isn't enough. So the brain invents a devastating solution. Never finish. You can't fail something you never submitted. The most dangerous sentence in your vocabulary right now is when it's ready. It is never going to be ready. Done badly beats perfect and invisible. Every single time. This one doesn't look like fear. It looks like a to-do list. You sit down to work and suddenly you don't see one task. You see 40. And your brain does the only thing it can do when facing 40 simultaneous threats. It shuts down completely. This isn't weakness. It's neuroscience. The brain cannot prioritize under that level of cognitive load, so it doesn't. It freezes. And from that frozen place, literally anything feels easier than starting. Here's what actually works. You don't need more motivation. You need less to begin. One sentence, one email, 2 minutes. Shrink the first step small enough that your amygdala stops screaming and the freeze breaks on its own. Not a better system, a smaller door. You meant to reply to that message 3 weeks ago, and now so much time has passed that replying feels more terrifying than just not. So you leave it. And every day you leave it, it gets heavier. Until the guilt of not replying is bigger than whatever the message was even about. The avoider doesn't just procrastinate on work. They procrastinate on feelings, difficult conversations, medical appointments, anything that might produce an emotion they don't feel equipped to survive. It's not about the task. It's about what finishing it might reveal. The brain solution. If you never open the box, there's nothing bad inside. The cost. The box gets heavier every single day you carry it. This is the one that breaks people. You have something that genuinely matters to you, a YouTube channel, a book, a business, something that's been living in the back of your mind for years, too alive to abandon, too frightening to actually start. Here's the psychology that explains it. The closer something is to your real identity, the more dangerous failure becomes. If a task you don't care about goes badly, fine. But if this goes badly, the thing connected to who you believe you could actually be, that failure touches something you can't easily recover from. So your brain keeps the dream alive but untouched, safe in the future where failure can't reach it. Thousands of people have described this exact grief. The channel never launched, the novel in the drawer, the version of themselves they kept planning to become someday. If this is you, I need you to understand something. The dream is not safer in your head. It's just dying slower. You tell yourself you work best under deadlines. Here's what's actually happening. When there's no urgency, your dopamine system stays flat. There's no signal strong enough to compete with distraction. But when a real deadline hits, panic spikes cortisol, adrenaline surges, and suddenly your brain has the fuel it needs to override everything else. You didn't discover a personality quirk. You trained your nervous system to require crisis in order to function. And over time, that chronic cortisol exposure does real damage. Insomnia, immune suppression, cardiovascular strain. The adrenaline eventually runs out. What's left afterward looks a lot like the next type. This one doesn't feel like the others. No anxiety, no guilt spiral, just a flat, gray nothing where motivation used to be. You open the document, you close it. Not because you're scared, because you genuinely cannot locate the part of yourself that cares anymore. Burnout procrastination doesn't respond to discipline. It doesn't respond to cold showers or a new productivity system. It responds to one thing only: safety, rest, permission to stop performing long enough for your system to actually recover. You are not permanently broken. You are deeply depleted. Those are not the same thing. One sentence from the research says this better than anything. People with ADHD don't lack desire, they lack access to action. There is a wall, invisible, inexplicable, physically painful, living in the space between knowing exactly what to do and actually doing it. And the cruelest part? You can hyperfocus for 10 hours once you finally start. The capacity is clearly there, which makes the wall more confusing and the shame deeper. Every teacher, every parent who watched you achieve something extraordinary one day and appear completely non-functional the next reached the same conclusion. You're just not trying. They were wrong. You were never lazy. You were running on wiring that nobody around you understood, including, often, yourself. Here's what nobody says at the end of productivity videos. You don't need to fix your character. You never did. Your brain isn't broken. It's doing exactly what brains do when they've learned, through experience, that trying leads to pain. It built walls dressed as laziness, disguised protection as delay. It was always, clumsily, expensively, just trying to keep you safe. Stop trying to overpower it. Stop punishing yourself with shame that only adds more threat to a system already drowning in threat. What actually moves you forward isn't discipline applied like a weapon. It's safety, a smaller door, forgiving the version of you that closed the laptop because that version was doing everything they could under impossible internal conditions. Research shows that people who forgave themselves for procrastinating perform significantly better afterward. Not because forgiveness is soft, because shame is the fuel that keeps the avoidance loop running. You don't fight your way out of this. You make it feel safe enough to begin. One sentence, one email, 1 minute. Not because that's all you're capable of, but because that's how you prove to your own nervous system that the thing you've been afraid of won't actually destroy you. The wall gets smaller every time you walk through it. You were never lazy. You were scared. And now you know the difference.